everyone, and welcome to another segment of Motivational Mondays with Donna. Today, I'd like to discuss two subjects, but very briefly. I will let you guys know that I will actually be separating these topics at a later date individually. But combined today, I want to discuss pride and humility. There's a big difference between the two. People that are very prideful figure they know everything and nobody can tell them anything and they're above everything. And people that are humble consider themselves lowly, not to the degree that they don't mean anything, they don't stand for anything, but just they're more of a soft nature. And that's what Jesus wants us to be more humble. So in the Bible, there was a man by the name of King Saul. And King Saul was a mighty warrior. And David, the shepherd boy, had come and killed Goliath. You guys know the story of David and Goliath. Well, of all of the successes that King Saul had, people just talked and talked and talked about the one victory that David had. And it enraged him so much with jealousy that he wanted to kill and destroy David. So, in essence, he sent his men to be able to go into the wilderness and look to be able to kill David and his servants that he had with him. David's men ran out of provisions. They didn't have anything. And David knew of a man that was very wealthy that he figured he could be able to send his servants to ask for provisions, to be able to tide them over and keep them safe while being out in the wilderness. And this man's name was Nabal. Now, Nabal was not a nice person. He figured he was bigger than life, very prideful person, just not of a good nature, not of a good spirit. So David's servants approached him and said, David would like to know if you can be able to give us provisions. He's the son of Jesse. And Nabal said, I don't know who Jesse is. And I don't know of any David. So no, just leave my property, leave my place, and that's it. So David's servants went back and told him this, and David was enraged and wanted to set out to be able to kill Nabal. Nabal's wife, Abigail, was a very humble person. She found out about the plan to destroy her husband and immediately went into action and put together so many provisions and got on a horse herself along with her people and went out to David in the wilderness and gave him all these provisions and pleaded for her kingdom and for her husband's life. And David accepted that and thanked her for coming to be able to assist him and his people. Well, Abigail returned back home, and her husband Nabal was having this big party, this big feast, and he was so drunk. So she didn't talk to him about what she had done then, but she waited until in the morning. And in the morning, she told him what she did. And Nabal's heart just sank. Once she told him that, he just started dying inside. And 10 days later, God struck him and killed him because of his prideful and nasty ways. The book in the Bible, book of Proverbs, that is the book on wisdom, spoke about this, and it speaks about several different things. It's a lot of different verses. I mean, Proverbs, most months have 30 days. There's 31 chapters in Proverbs. You need to read one chapter a day of Proverbs. Wisdom is essential. And in chapter 29, verse 23, it states that a man's pride shall bring him low, but honor shall uphold the humble in spirit. And this is exactly what transpired in this story. Now, on the opposite end, where humility is concerned, there was another story in the Bible, a man by the name of Naaman. And he was the captain of the king of Syria, and he was a great man. However, he had a sickness, and he was a leper. His people had actually gone and captured some people, and one of them was a young Israel girl, and she was a little maid. And they actually, brought her back with some others to save their lives, and she became, um, a maid to his wife. And she said to his wife, there's a prophet called Elisha, and your husband, Naaman, should go to him, and he should be able to help him, touch him, and heal him from being a leper. Now, Naaman, with the type of popularity and title that he had, he could have looked down on what his wife had to say where this little Israel maid was concerned and didn't pay it any mind. But he went the other route and actually set out to be able to go and meet this Elijah. So he traveled to where Elisha was and was asking about him. Lo and behold, Elijah did not come to meet him, and actually sent some of his servants to meet him and told him very specifically, you need to go and wash and dip in the river Jordan 7 times. Naaman was very upset. Who is Elisha not to come out and see me and speak to me personally? I've traveled all this way. Again, he could have gone a prideful way, but he decided to be humble. So he went to the river Jordan and washed and dipped 7 times. And after the 7th time, he came back up and he was completely clean. This is how God can bless your life if you're humble. And there's a lot of verses in the Bible that speak about humility. One of them is, for whosoever exalteth himself, meaning to put himself up high, shall be brought low, abased. And he that humbleth himself shall be exalted. So, which do you really want to be? If you lay low, God will raise you up for everybody to see. So humility goes a long way. We've been ending our sessions again as usual on gratitude. And there's a gentleman by the name of Gary Earl Grice, which he's better known for his stage name as GZA. And he is an American rapper and a songwriter. And he was one of the founding members of the Wu-Tang Clan. And he actually said for gratitude, live a life of humility, gratitude, intellectual curiosity, and never stop learning. For every day that God gives us, we want to learn something new. We want to be humble, just like we've seen in the story that I just counted about Naaman and his leprosy. And we want to be grateful and thankful at all times. Have a great week, guys.